April 5th, 2023, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is releasing worldwide. Many people have been anticipating to see a highly entertaining family flick that will once again prove to the world that video games can be adapted successfully onto the screen. The theaters soon open, and everybody starts rushing in. Over the weekend, the film makes $377 million at the box office. Literally the biggest opening for an animated film. The audiences love the movie. Surely the critics, the gods who know everything about film and how a film should work, will share the same opinion, right? Ooh, never mind I guess. But it gives me a perfect opportunity to segue into what we are actually going to be talking about in this video. Our world is made up of contradicting opinions. There's so many cultures that millions of people are part of, and they all differentiate from one another in some capacity, and I cannot think of a better example than the internet. There's so many communities on here expressing different beliefs, whether they be normal, weird, or just batshit schizophrenic, that there are very few things that we can all agree on. However, legacy media likes to take opinions and elevate them to something that is supposed to be seen as a level of high intelligence, and if you don't agree with that opinion, you are retarded. Opinion columns are a good example of that. They're written by people who supposedly have knowledge within that field, and they're not published on some Twitter account or Facebook page that your mother likes to go to when she's run out of minion memes to laugh at. They're published in reputable newspapers and news sites. This gives them the badge of credibility, and therefore makes them look more like pieces of knowledge from an expert that we should listen to and agree with. But the truth is, there are actually articles that people with certain opinions are paid to write because those opinions align with our publication standards. Their job is essentially to deprive you of your own opinion and convince you to agree with them. This brings us back to the Mario movie. Critics were having a field day hating on it, while regular people were simply having fun watching it. They didn't care about what Mr. Massivus Cantalorius of Variety thought of the movie. They went in there and made their own thoughts on it. The same goes for all the YouTube reviewers either calling the movie woke or anti-woke. I didn't care what they said, and neither did many other people who were sitting with me in the cinema. From my own experience, I didn't see a man in a MAGA hat start shouting about woke propaganda when Rainbow Road showed up, and I also didn't see a pink-hair feminist start ranting in my ear about how the movie had misogynist undertones. But imagine how many people were convinced by these opinion leaders that this movie was shit and didn't watch it. Instead of making their own independent assessments about the film, they relied on someone else's opinion for them to make their own opinion. That is the point that I'm trying to get at. Whatever these critics say does not matter. Their opinion shouldn't be held to such a high status just because it's published on Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic, or just because they made a video about it on their channel with a verified checkmark. And this isn't just the case with movies either. When PewDiePie uploaded his infamous Fiverr video in which he paid two Indian men to write a certain phrase on a piece of cardboard, various mainstream media outlets such as the Wall Street Journal and The Guardian derided him as a fascist. But if you go to the video using the Wayback Machine, you will notice that the like to dislike ratio isn't what you would call terrible. In a similar way, if you go onto the re-upload of the video, the ratio is once again very good, and the comments don't seem to be too bothered by the obvious joke. Was it stupid? Yes, it was. Was it an act of anti-Semitism? No, it was not. But because the people who were calling PewDiePie a neo-Nazi were doing it using mainstream media publications, everyone automatically assumed that PewDiePie was this terrible person and they cancelled him for it. When in reality, these articles were the product of some opinionated people being told by a bitter media company, which is finding it increasingly tough to compete with YouTubers, to write something that would boost them in a search algorithm. And who better target than the face of YouTube himself? The point that I'm trying to get at here is that we should not give the legacy media, or any media for that matter, the power to turn opinion into a fact. After all, media is a man-made thing, and therefore it will always have a bias behind it. You can't get fully truthful information about politics from Fox News, because it's biased towards the right wing, and will therefore always paint its own side in a positive light, and vilify the other. When Tucker Carlson is talking about Biden, the economy, or Ukraine, all he's doing is expressing an opinion that aligns with the channel standards. Sure, he may be saying some facts, but it's not the full truth, because he's always going to be biased towards the right wing. That's not to say that you shouldn't listen to anyone's opinion, because if you take alternative views into consideration, you will get a more multidimensional picture of the world. After all, how would we ever operate as a functional and civilized society if we didn't take other people's opinions into consideration? That's literally how a democracy works. All I'm saying is, don't just base your opinion solely off something that someone else said. If you see a review article calling the new Fast and Furious movie worse than syphilis, take it into consideration, but don't base your entire view of the movie solely off that one review. See what other people say about it. Do they agree that it sucks, or do they think it's good? Even better, go watch the movie for yourself and make up your own mind. This has been my TED Talk. Thank you and good night.
Проще позвонить, чем у кого-то занимать.